college football fans and black and gold fans, welcome back to the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog, where we examine, discuss, celebrate, and honor all things college football across the entire college football landscape. A channel created not just for the black and gold fans of the Iowa Hawkeyes, but for all college football fans alike, from coast to coast, north to south. If you've been lost in the woods looking for a place to call home, then welcome to the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog, a gathering spot, a safe haven, a place for all college football fans to come together and celebrate and share their love for all things college football and give homage to the greatest sporting event and spectacle and season that we have in this great nation and on the face of this great planet. Welcome back, guys. I am your usual host, Blair Parks. Holla at you, boy. And this is my Week 7 review and recap episode. We'll be talking about everything that unfolded during the weekend of Week 7 in college football. And I'm telling you, week after week, these big-time advertised clashes of undefeated opponents, big-time matchups, they only get better and better. College football just continues to deliver week in and week out, proving that it is once again unrivaled, unmatched by anything that we have sports-wise. The clash of the Pac-12 Titans up in Seattle over the weekend did not disappoint at all. Just like before it, the Red River rivalry between Texas and Oklahoma was as advertised. And before it, that showdown in South Bend between Ohio State and Notre Dame. And then before that, the big one down in Tuscaloosa when Texas traveled to Alabama. It continues to be a season for the ages. And before I say anything more, I'd like to say thank you for all of you for your continued support, your time, your attention. If you've been searching for a place to call home, as I've said, then welcome to that home. Please like, share, subscribe, tell your friends, your coworkers, your family, and your fellow college football fans to check me out here on the channel. But I need your help to find more college football fans just like you. And as I always mention during each and every episode, I always encourage and welcome your participation. I want to hear from you, the college football fans, so please let your voice be heard. Comment below. I promise I will get back to each and every one of your comments individually much sooner than later, and I can't wait to hear from you because remember, without you, none of this is possible. And you are the ones who drive these episodes. So let me tell you what's on tap for today, the normal agenda for my review and recap episodes. My first segment, I'll be trying my hand at the college football stock market. It'll be buy or sell. Followed by that, one of my favorite segments each and every week. I'll discuss with you what was the good, the bad, and the ugly from Week 7. Followed by, then after that, following the good, the bad, and the ugly, will be my updated power rankings. Each and every week, I give you my top 12 as far as who I think the top teams in the nation are. And then my final segment after my power rankings will be my 3 cheers from Week 7. These are the big-time accomplishments and moments, maybe performance accolades by a single player, a team, a coaching staff. These are some of those feel-good stories that fall between the cracks, and it is my obligation and responsibility to keep you in the know about these great stories that unfolded over the weekend in the college football world. So without further ado, guys and girls, let's go ahead and get it on. Woo! Ric Flair style. I'm just waiting for that opening bell of the stock market. It should be going off any time. Where is the opening bell? There it is. All right. Time to play buy or sell. try my hand as the Wolf of Wall Street. All right. So what I do in this segment, guys, is I've got a 6-pack of statements that I kind of put together on the cusp on a whim. And then after stating them, I think about them, and then I tell you whether I am buying or selling that statement as of now. So please feel free, let me know what you think about these statements and whether you would buy or sell them. I can't wait to hear from you. So please subscribe, like, share, comment, rate. So my first bold statement and buy or sell this week: following the instant classic that played out in Seattle between Washington and Oregon, a game that Washington ended up winning 36-33, and I'll talk a little bit more about this game later in the episode. Also, coupled with the USC spanking that took place against Notre Dame in this year's edition of the Shillelagh rivalry game, USC lost terribly, and I'll talk more about them later this episode as well. And with Utah's struggling offense, is it a foregone conclusion that these two will meet yet again in the Pac-12 title game? I am selling that. I think that would be the obvious thought. I think these are the two best teams in the stacked Pac-12, but there's one team that people are kind of forgetting about. I feel they're kind of like the what about Dre? Everyone's forgot about them. Not USC. They were exposed. It just comes down to their defense is non-existent. Utah, like I stated, they just have some challenges offensively, which is really a shame because they have one of the best defenses in all the nation. But the team that people are forgetting or overlooking is Oregon State, guys. The Beavers are absolutely legit, locked and loaded. Clemson quarterback who transferred over in the offseason, DJ Uyunglele, is playing the best football of his career, even when he was at Clemson. That defense we know is stout, they're physical, and they have a very, very underrated home advantage atmosphere. I mean, this team is playing really good football. They dispatched of UCLA over the weekend, and they're going to be in it till the very end. I think, actually, a spot in the Pac-12 title game is going to come down to the previous rivalry game, the Civil War, the last week of the season when Oregon State travels to Eugene to take on Oregon. I think the winner of that game is going to find themselves in the Pac-12 title game. So don't sleep on the Beavers of Oregon State. Not quite yet. Now, my second statement for this week's buy or sell: the mighty SEC will only get one participant in this year's college football playoff. That is an absolute buy, all right? As of right now, I'm buying that. But if things kind of play out the way that they could, maybe the way I'm seeing the dominoes falling, hell, they might be lucky if they even get one representative in this year's college football playoff. And that is something that could happen to the SEC, which, yes, years past, they have dominated college football. They have been the best conference, but this year, it's kind of in doubt. I mean, it's not in doubt because they're not the best conference this season, and they're not. And the SEC homer, come on, you agree with me, or if you don't, you're either living in your glass house or you're a Homer Simpson. So they will get lucky, I think, to maybe even get represented. And here's why. Right now, Georgia is still undefeated. Brock Bowers, their tight end, left the game in the second quarter over the weekend against Vanderbilt. Georgia would go on to win. They didn't look convincing in that win, but they did win. He's going to be out for 4 to 6 weeks is the time frame with an ankle injury. And they are going to pick up one loss in the regular season. I'm telling you. I am still very critical of this team. They played nobody at all in the non-conference. They've played none of the heavyweights from the SEC West. They do have Ole Miss in a few weeks. But they are going to pick up one loss in the regular season. They still have their rivalry game against Florida. Then they come home and play back-to-back against Missouri, who got a very, very convincing and big victory over the weekend over Kentucky in Lexington. So they have Missouri at home, and then Ole Miss. They finally play one of the upper echelon teams from the West Division. And then they have to go to Tennessee. They're going to lose one of those games. It's going to happen. And they're probably going to lose in the SEC title game. So let's say their SEC West opponent is potentially a 2-loss LSU team, maybe could end up being a 2-loss Alabama team, a 1 or 2-loss Ole Miss team, right? And regardless of who wins, who is really deserving? I mean, who is? I would think LSU would still have that inside track, or really whoever wins that big LSU-Alabama matchup in a few weeks, because both of those two teams do have non-conference losses, but they are against good teams. Of course, LSU lost against Florida State in Orlando at a neutral site, Orlando, Florida, and Alabama lost at home to Texas. So I think one of those teams, whoever wins that matchup, if they go on to win with 2 losses, let's say they pick up a loss here or there, then I think they would get in absolutely over a 1-loss regular season Georgia team or 2 losses in the SEC title game. But let's say all hell breaks loose and those teams all pick up another loss, then the SEC will get left out, as they should. They just should. But let's see what plays out. Let me know what you think about that, SEC fans. Number 3, my third big statement for buy or sell, a 1-loss Florida State team. Now, they looked very good over the weekend, albeit against Syracuse down in Tallahassee. They put the smackdown on the Orange. But a 1-loss Florida State team, even with that non-conference victory over LSU, will not make the college football playoff, and the ACC will be left out. That is a buy. Right now, the room for error in the ACC, and it's really 2 teams have a shot at this now. Florida State, who is undefeated, that win over LSU, and North Carolina continues to just truck along. They're sitting there undefeated. So if one of those 2 teams win out, I think Florida State would have much more solid ground to say we're a CFP contestant or participant. If they win out and win the ACC title game, Florida State's in. They're in. It's that simple. But if they pick up a loss, if everybody in the ACC has at least 1 loss, I think the ACC will get shut out and left out in the cold for this year's college football playoff. So, 1-loss Florida State team, you're going to be out. In ACC, we'll have to just wait to see you next season. My 4th statement for buy or sell is, during this upcoming stretch run, when comparing what they have in front of them via their schedules, Texas has the edge and inside track compared to Oklahoma to finishing up the number 1 seed in the Big 12 conference title game. That is an absolute buy. The schedules for these 2 heavyweights in the Big 12, Texas and Oklahoma, the schedules are so unbalanced, all right? Yes, Oklahoma defeated Texas 2 weeks ago. So right now they are the 1 seed moving forward for the Big 12 championship game. But not all schedules are made equal. This is what we got. Texas, all of their hard games from here out are in Austin. They host BYU, Kansas State, and Texas Tech. I think they travel to Iowa State and somebody else. They're not going to lose those games. While OU, Oklahoma, they travel to all of the following 3. They travel to Kansas, who I think if Jalen Daniels is healthy, you got to watch out for them. I'm telling you, they're sneaky good if they're fully healthy. They travel to Kansas, to BYU, up to Provo, up to Elevation, and they travel to their arch rival for this year's and maybe the last edition of the Bedlam rivalry game. That's right, they also travel to Stillwater to take on Oklahoma State. So Texas has it much easier down the stretch. So that is an absolute buy, and that is truth. All right? So please comment, like, share, subscribe. Let me know what you think. My fifth bold statement in buy or sell this week is let's compare some of the potential college football frauds. All right? I've got 3 contestants for you. These contestants are USC head coach Lincoln Riley, Iowa's 6-1 record, their number 24 ranking in the AP poll, with Iowa's offensive struggles, their woes. I mean, we are the worst offense in the nation, period. Stats don't lie. I mean, I guess, anything we're doing is worth doing right, so you might as well be the worst or the best at it. Or the third potential fraud, Texas A&M coach Jimbo Fisher. And of those 3 potential frauds, I'm saying right now that Lincoln Riley is public enemy fraud number 1. That is a sell. That still goes to your boy Jimbo Fisher, talking like Boomhauer Man when he comes down to these post-game interviews. Talk about Boomhauer Man. That's what he sounds like. He sounds like Boomhauer, all right? Yes, Lincoln Riley, I wouldn't say he's a fraud at USC. Stubborn as a mule as far as sticking with defensive coordinator Alex Grinch, the guy he brought with him from Oklahoma. He's loyal to him, which isn't always a bad thing, but he's not a fraud. He just needs to move on from DC Grinch. Iowa being 6-1, I mean, records don't lie. We know their offense is inept. We know it's like, why even play offense? I mean, it's not like you can say that's a conspiracy. We see it for ourselves. It's there in the stats, like I've mentioned. So Iowa's not a fraud. I mean, that's just reality. But it's just Jimbo Fisher, guys. And I've been saying this for years. A&M fans, the sooner you move on from him, the better off you will be. But in the same breath, I'll also say, this is what you deserve. By allowing your program to give this man complete control of the comings and goings, the inner workings of your program, and giving him $9.5 million a year, you made your own beds. Now you need to sleep in them. You allowed this to happen. He is a fraud, the fraud of all frauds. I hate to say this because some people will take it political, but he is the fake news. He is. Over the weekend, A&M traveled to a pretty solid Tennessee team. Not a great Tennessee team. They are ranked. But A&M lost 20-13. That drops A&M's overall record to 4-3. Now, in SEC play, since he took over down there in College Station, A&M is 25-20 against SEC opponents. That is inexcusable while he's making the aforementioned $9.5 million a year. He's got to go. He's the biggest fraud. And A&M fans, I've always asked for your involvement. Please, I basically double dare any A&M fan to come on here and actually try to defend Jimbo Fisher. I would love to hear from you. Please. My sixth and final buy or sell statement. I always share this one for my Hawkeyes after what happened over the weekend. Following their big-time win over Wisconsin in Madison, 15-6. That's right, 15-6. Iowa now controls their destiny in the Big Ten West Division. So, Iowa fans should assume and can assume their ticket is punched to Indy, and we should begin to make our travel arrangements and purchase our tickets. I'm selling that, guys. Nothing is known within the Big Ten West Division, and especially with our offense, which is not sustainable. I mean, Iowa fans, we're going to lose at least one, if not two more games. It is going to happen. It is way too early. Don't listen to what the experts are saying. Don't listen to what Homer fans are saying, media outlets. Nothing is wrapped up yet. Trust me. And Iowa's biggest game of the year is this coming weekend in week 8. They come home, they take on Minnesota for the Floyd of Rosedale Trophy. Then they have a bye week. I'm just afraid this is a classic letdown position for Iowa. You go on the road, big time victory as a 9.5-point underdog. Can you basically reset, refocus, and come down to ground zero? I'm very worried about this game this weekend against Minnesota at home in Kinnick Stadium. I just am. If you want to know more or hear more about the game that happened between Iowa and Wisconsin, please feel free to check out my last episode, my instant reaction and recap to that game. I think you will enjoy it. But that's my buy or sell for this week, guys. So please like, share, comment, subscribe, rate. Let me know what you think. Now, we should be coming up on my next segment. What? You hear that? What? That's right. That music can only mean it's time for the good, the bad, and the ugly from week 7. That's right. I always like to point out those 3 things based on my perspective and my opinion that I saw unfold. I'm going to start off with the good. Already mentioned it. I mean, that game up in Seattle between 2 top 8 undefeated teams for Pac-12 supremacy and leadership, it did not let down at all. I am a little bit critical of Oregon coach Dan Lanning's decisions to go for it on multiple times on 4th down to go. I get it. You want to be aggressive, and he was. To his credit, he was consistently aggressive. The last one late in the game with under 2 minutes to go, going for it on 4th and 3, I believe, near just past midfield, because they knew, hey, if I give Michael Penix and this Washington team the ball back, doesn't matter if it's at the 40, the 10, the 20, it doesn't matter. They're going to score, which then they did not convert. It took Washington 2 plays to score the go-ahead touchdown. So I like that he was doing that, but the one that was a little bit of a head-scratcher to me, right before the end of the first half, down, I believe they were inside the 5, maybe at the 3-yard line. They were down 4 at that point. They went for it, did not convert. It's like, take your field goal there. You go into the half down 1 point. That's the only one I think maybe he should have rethought. But what a great game to watch back and forth. And what makes me even more giddy, what even gets me going even more, is both of those teams next year are officially in the Big Ten. So it's awesome to think that brand, those teams are coming to a Big Ten television and a Big Ten campus near you. Now, the bad. And I said I'd get to this one here. USC, guys. Woo! I mean, USC got absolutely walloped, boat raced, beaten like a red-headed stepchild, whatever analogy you want to use. But the final score was 48-20, a loss against Notre Dame in South Bend. I mean, never really in doubt. When I saw that going along the bottom line, the sports ticker with updated scores, I kind of had to squint, do one of these numbers. Let me make sure my glasses are working. I could not believe that. I did watch a little bit of it, but very quickly it turned very ugly. UGLY, USC, you ain't got no alibi. I mean, USC had 5 turnovers, 3 interceptions thrown by reigning Heisman Trophy winner Caleb Williams. He only had 1 touchdown pass, under 200 yards passing for the Heisman Trophy winner. But their offense, I mean, this is really where it's at. Their offensive line surrendered 6 sacks and 11 tackles for loss. I mean, absolute beatdown. USC is not a Pac-12 contender. They are not a college football playoff contender either. And I think, what's that? I think I just saw the Heisman Trophy leaving LA and going up to Seattle potentially. So that was the bad from week 7. Now the ugly. Wow. And I guess based on your point of view, I mean, if you're a Stanford fan, this is good. This is beautiful. It's just it's so miraculous and unexpected. You're still jumping for joy there on the farm in Palo Alto, but the ugly, the Stanford comeback, or the other side of this, the Colorado meltdown. All right, listen. I said this weeks ago when Oregon absolutely just burst the bubble of Coach Prime and Colorado, exposing them for who they are, a team that's in a major rebuild. And yes, all right, I was very skeptical of this, but I've already said it is a success what's happened there in Boulder in year one. This is a team that won one game last year. Coach Prime puts a team together basically in 4 months, has 7 returning scholarship players. They're pegged at 3.5 wins via Vegas, and here they are at 4. So it is a success. But all of the hype and the fanfare and the love for Coach Prime in Colorado, I'm sick and tired of it. And I was sick and tired of it when Oregon showed truly who they are, but this is what happened Friday night. I did not stay up for this. Now I wish I would have. But at the half, Stanford was down 29 points, all right? And Stanford stormed back. They forced overtime and eventually kicked a game-winning field goal in double overtime to shock the Buffaloes there in Boulder. I mean, how can this happen? Oh yeah, that's right, because Colorado's defense is non-existent. Their offensive line is not physical. They're basically a high school team playing in a college game. They can't stop anybody. They can't block anybody. And that's just something that Coach Prime is going to have to address in the offseason. I mean, I thought maybe they win this game, potentially maybe getting to bowl eligibility, and what a huge accomplishment that would have been. But I don't know if it's going to happen now. I just don't. I mean, in that second half, I watched some of the highlights. I mean, Stanford, their wide receivers, all of them looked like All-Americans. And their quarterback looked like a Heisman Trophy candidate. And Travis Hunter, the stud player, the two-way player for Colorado, his first game back from a lacerated liver, I mean, he just was absolutely gassed. I mean, the guy should not have been out there playing. He was on a snap count, but you're going to ruin this guy's career. I mean, just let him rest. I mean, he couldn't cover a sloth by the end of the game. He was so down and out and gassed and out of breath. I mean, it was ugly for Colorado, but just a miracle, a thing of beauty for a Stanford fan. So that was my good and bad and the ugly from week 7. Let me know what you think about it. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Until next week, for the good, the bad, and the ugly. Can't wait. All right, guys, next segment. We're moving right along, and now it's time for me to unveil my updated post-Week 7 power rankings. Let me go and take a quick swig here. All right, and these are my power rankings based on records, eye test, who they've played, who they haven't played, who they've lost to. So I take the AP rankings. I don't even look at them. This is how I would rank these teams as of today if I had a say-so in that. So, and I will update you from last week. From last week, still there, no movement. Number 1, to me, the best team in the nation, most complete team is Michigan. I've got them still number 1. I mean, they dominated again over the weekend. That's just what they do. Number 2, up 3 spots following that victory against Oregon. I've got the Washington Huskies at number 2, and I've been saying this for weeks now, that Washington is the most dangerous team in the nation, in my view. Number 3, no movement. That's where they were last week. I've got Florida State, who took care of business against Syracuse. No problems there. Number 4, down 2 spots. And quite frankly, I ask myself, should I even have them in my top 4? which would be, as of today, in the college football playoff. But I've got Georgia there just barely hanging on because they still have yet to prove anything to me and to most of you. I mean, we said 2 weeks ago, after they absolutely bludgeoned Kentucky down in Athens, oh, this is a really good Kentucky team. But then Missouri goes up there and wins at ease. Other than a bad first quarter, it was never in doubt for the Tigers to beat the Wildcats over the weekend. So I've got Georgia at 4, down 2 spots. Number 5, down 1 spot. Even though they took care of business, I've got the Ohio State Buckeyes, who still might have one of, if not the best win of the season, winning at Notre Dame. But they've got a big matchup this week coming up with Penn State. Definitely will have every opportunity to either move up or move down. Number 6, right where they were last week, I've got the aforementioned Penn State Nittany Lions. They were in cruise control against UMass over the weekend. Once again, big opportunity to move up or move down as they travel to Columbus this upcoming week. Number 7, up 1 spot, and I will explain why I have it this way. I've got Texas up 1 spot at number 7. Number 8, I have Oklahoma up 2 spots. Now, I know what some of you are saying. Why do you have Texas ahead of Oklahoma when OU beat them straight up? You're right, they did. But I give a lot of props and a little bit of extra credit for that Texas victory at Alabama. I mean, if OU would have gone to Austin, if it was a legit true road game and they go into Austin and beat Texas, then I'm going to have these two teams flopped. I would have Oklahoma ahead of Texas, but Oklahoma, I don't know how for real they are. They played nobody in the non-conference, and I mean nobody. And their hardest games in the Big 12 are still coming up. I mean, having Texas at a neutral site, that kind of takes away home field, for either team, but they still have a lot to prove to me. But they will have every opportunity. All right, so OU fans, don't flip or freak the F out. You'll have time to move up or move down on my list. Number 9, even though they lost, they still look really good. I've got down 2 spots, the Oregon Ducks, following that loss to Washington. Number 10, down 1 spot. I mean, they won, but man, oh man, they almost absolutely gave it away. The Alabama Crimson Tide, they're doing enough to stay around and to stay relevant, but they need to do more to make themselves look more legit. But they haven't done anything that makes them look illegitimate or not pretenders or contenders instead of pretenders. But they just need to bring it all together. I mean, and that big game in a few weeks against LSU, that's really going to prove it to everybody. Who is this Alabama team? I mean, they almost gave up a huge lead against Arkansas over the weekend at home, held on to a 24-21 victory. I mean, man, they still don't look all that impressive. Number 11, up 1 spot after taking care of a very tough-nosed defense, a gamer type team, UCLA. I've got Oregon State at number 11. And making their initial appearance on my power rankings list, all they do is win, no matter what. Drake May is looking like a potential Heisman candidate. I've got at number 12, the North Carolina Tar Heels. Looks like they are heading on a collision course, as 2 undefeateds might meet up in the ACC title game, North Carolina and Florida State. So guys, that's my post-Week 7 power rankings. Let me know what you think. Do you agree or disagree where I have some of these teams? Is this team too high? This team too low? Is there somebody you think that is deserving to be on this list who isn't? Please holler at me. Let me know. Comment, like, share, subscribe, rate. Now, guys, that brings me to my final segment in this episode. This is my 3 cheers from Week 7. As I stated in the opening, these are some of those really feel-good stories, big-time accomplishments that just don't get the publicity or the coverage that they deserve. Very easy to overlook. This would be kind of the old back page of the sports section. I mean, for those of you who remember reading a newspaper like I do, I'm 42 years young. So these are the 3 cheers from week 7. Let me take a quick swig of water here. All right. So let me bring you up to speed or keep you in the know about some of these unknown happenings. My first cheer from week 7, the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Remember, once upon a time, they were the doormats of college football? Well, at least the doormats of Power 5 conference football. Well, here they are. This is what they did over the weekend. Heading into the 4th quarter, guys, they were down 24-6 at home against Michigan State. But what did they do? They only rattled off the next 21 points unanswered to complete the comeback and shock the Spartans. 27-24, Rutgers gets it done. And while doing that, they improved to 5-2 on the season. Here they are, 1 win away from bowl eligibility. Greg Schiano has that team playing very good, complementary, disciplined football, and they believe. And they've got a great opportunity this week. They traveled to Indiana to get that coveted 6th win, to be able to play a +1 game in a bowl matchup. It's right now one of the great stories of this college football season that no one seems to notice. It's just like last year with UConn, who was a doormat for independence for as long as you can remember. But last year, under first-year coach Jim Mora Jr., they got to bowl eligibility. These stories have to be celebrated. They have to get a little bit of PR and some love. So Rutgers, good luck getting that 6th victory. And Michigan State's downward spiral, just continues to get out of control. They fall to 2-4. I think really difficult, hard times are even more on the horizon for the Spartans. But Rutgers, what a great accomplishment. I can't wait to see next week. Just hopefully that 6th win doesn't come against my Hawkeyes and Kinnick in a few weeks. But to you, I say congratulations. You deserve it. Take it in. Hip, hip. Hip, hip. That's right. Way to go, Rutgers. My second cheer from week 2, and this was on Thursday night football, I believe, is the Houston, West Virginia game. What a great game. And I'm looking at Houston, all right? Now, remember, this is Houston's inaugural season as a member of the Big 12 Conference, and this is what went down in Houston. And what a wild way for them to record their first ever win as a Big 12 Conference team against a fellow Big 12 Conference opponent. This is how it went down there in Houston, all right? West Virginia, they scored on a 50-yard touchdown pass on 4th and 10, nonetheless, and they took a 4-point lead with only 12 seconds left. It looks like the game is over. West Virginia sends the home crowd home, crying with broken hearts. I saw at one point the West Virginia quarterbacks waving bye, kissing everybody goodbye in the crowd, to only see this happen. The next possession, throwing up a 49-yard Hail Mary, looking for an answer from above. They complete the pass in the end zone, does Houston, as time expired, and they walk away with a 41-39 victory. What a great way to punch that record book, to get that first ever Big 12 Conference victory. What a way to celebrate. This is why, once again, this sport is unrivaled. There is nothing quite like it. All you NFL fans, I love you, I respect you, but you're wrong. College football is where it's at. So to Houston, congratulations on getting that first win as a member of the Big 12 Conference. To you, you are more than deserving. let's not, but please, you better get more because Coach Dana might be on the way out. All right, now my third cheer from week 7, and I'm sorry, I've got to give some credit, some Heisman attention to my man, Iowa's punter, Tory Taylor, the punter from down under. That's right, this man deserves some Heisman Trophy talk. Now, do I think he deserves to be a Heisman Trophy finalist? No. But he should be in the top 10 of voting. Here's why. This is what his stat line was from that big 15-6 victory against Wisconsin, which was an absolute defensive struggle in those conditions with passing was not needed at all. I mean, this is what his stats were. Tory Taylor had 10 punts for 506 yards. That's an average of 50.6 yards per punt, a long of 62 yards. 6 of those 10 were inside the 20, and 3 of those were inside the 10-yard line. But there should have been a 4th that would have been inside the 10, but there was this really bonehead penalty on one of the Iowa gunners who didn't see the Wisconsin player call a fair catch, and then he just ran into him like he was going to tackle him. I think he caught that at the 6-yard line. So 4 of those 6 would have been inside the 10. This guy is absolutely next level. He's going to be first-team All-Big Ten punter. He's going to be a first-team All-American. He will win the Ray Guy Award for the best punter in the nation. And what does the Heisman Trophy go to? What does it really signify? It signifies the player who basically is the most excellent at their position, who wins games, puts their team in position to win games, and is a good leader and a good representative of their schools and of their programs. And Tory Taylor does that to a T. He is the best punter maybe I've ever seen in my lifetime. He is absolutely deserving of some Heisman talk. Get him in the conversation. So my third and final cheer goes to you, 26-year-old, I believe, Tory Taylor, the punter from down under. You deserve it. Incoming. Well done. What a game on an individual note for Tory Taylor. But all right, guys, that's it. That's my episode for today, my Week 7 review and recap. Thank you for all that you do, your support, time, attention. Please let your voice be heard. Get in on those comments. I will get back to you. Please subscribe. Let's go ahead and keep this momentum going. Expect me back later this week. I would think late afternoon on Thursday. I will have my Week 8 picks episode, and I'm gonna be taking it on the road, taking it to the streets. I will be coming to you from a very exotic destination on Thursday. No spoilers. You're going to have to tune in. So please, find me, check me out Thursday for that episode. So until then, thank you. Have a good day, a great week, and thanks for joining me on the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. See ya.